بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Get tempted by mouth-watering, juicy pineapples. Chill out with refreshing tropical fruit cocktails. Del Monte. Say yes to the best.
Adab, welcome to another episode of what show is this? Perspectives?
God, it is perspectives.
It's nearing the end of Ramadan. I am tired.
And you're aging.
And getting wiser.
And old.
Hotter.
And old.
Old is good.
Old is gold.
Old is good and gold.
Okay.
You get better at things.
All right.
Yeah.
So a few days back, I had received an email from your end.
Right.
This female, Ayesha Askar, she caught you on Twitter.
She got me on Twitter.
And she told you that she's been doing, she's working on a campaign to create awareness for child sexual abuse in Pakistan. She's based in Toronto. Mm-hmm. So we thought we will take her on our show and see what's her campaign about, what all is being done.
Super.
So we have with us on the call Ayesha Askar. Hi, Ayesha.
Hi, how are you?
All good. How are you?
I'm well. How are things?
So Ayesha, first...
I'm sorry. Things are not good, Ayesha, because it's an odd show where I've got Ayesha and Ayesha.
And Ayesha. And lots of Ayeshas.
So I hope all Ayeshas put together don't create a crisis for me, right?
Yeah. You can also call me Ash. My friends call me Ash, so if that differentiation works well for you.
Yeah, and what's worse is we call this Ayesha Ash too. So no, I will stick to Ayeshas. Maybe the Islamic connotation of it will make you guys gentler. Anyways, on a serious note, Ayesha, tell us what you're doing with this campaign, what you're up to, and what you have planned.
Basically, one of my friends, her name is Aina. She started the petition on. To raise awareness around child sexual abuse, and she basically wanted to petition the federal government to have some sort of marketing campaign or an ad campaign as a public service announcement so that more awareness can be raised about it. We started the petition around 2 months ago. Mm-hmm. And since then, we have been receiving response from people that something needs to be done on a larger scale, and because the problem is widespread, and just talking about it on social media or just talking about things on between friends or relatives is not gonna solve the problem. So we should definitely bring it front to the people. And what we have been trying to do is that we have been trying to contact MPs in Pakistan, because they are the parliamentarians who have the power to change laws or to run any sort of campaigns on a national level. Because my friends and I are just students, and we are single working persons, or the families who are just doing this thing out on their own. We are not an NGO who have a lot of resources or anything like that. So what we have been...
Go on. Go on.
So what we have been doing so far is that we approached a few MPs from political parties in different provinces. They encouraged us, and we have been working on a proposal to give it to them to see that if something can be done about it, especially in terms of introducing a PSA on a national level. What we were told when we approached them with the idea that they should be having a national campaign as a public service announcement, they said that like at this point, government doesn't have the funds to do any sort of work like that, though it is necessarily needed. So we are like trying to come up with like ideas that can be done on a low budget, or that can be like done with like networking with people, or networking with like the current resources that the government has.
Okay, first of all, do you have a website for your campaign? I mean, how can we reach it?
We don't have a website at the moment. We just have a Facebook page.
Fine.
We are having a survey done. So that's what we are doing right now.
That's fine. And Ayesha, do we have the URL for it?
Yeah.
And we will be showing the URL. Now, the second question, Ayesha, is that which MPs or who in the government told you that they don't have the funds for such a campaign?
I cannot name the MPs at the moment because it's not necessarily an official statement that I have had from them. It was the few MPs whom I spoke with through Twitter and through Facebook as well. I just like approached them. I was like, this is something we are doing. We would like to be on. We would like you to be on board with us. And this is what we got as a feedback, that if you guys can make something, and if you guys can like give us like what you guys are looking for, we might be like able to put it forward and get it approved by the majority of the parliament or the National Assembly, or whatever are the protocols that goes into it.
Was this conversation on a private Twitter DM, or was it on a public timeline?
I approached them saying that like this is something we are doing. The conversation that I had afterwards, it was that like some of it was on emails, other of them I had like on a phone conversation with them.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is because the government has endless amounts of money to advertise their bloody failures. No, they've got the money to advertise their failures and run their publicity, full of BS publicity campaigns. But if they don't have money for this, I would really like to know who you've communicated with you, and I would personally love to take them to task on that.
Honestly, not gonna lie, we were very surprised that if you're saying that you can make a 2 to 3 minutes of PSA and run it on a national television, there are like a couple of channels, if I'm not wrong, which are run by the government. Then if you can do that, and if the majority of the people in Pakistan who do watch those channels, if they can have like access to that sort of information, what is wrong with it? So I'm not so sure if it's a very sensitive issue for them to approach, or if it's something very political, or if people are afraid maybe they will have a religious backlash. I'm not so sure. But
it's none of that. It's just that the government doesn't really give a damn.
Yeah, because it's not affecting them as in person.
Yeah, well, even if it is, they don't really care.
Yeah. So, what's your...
They should care. Honestly, they should care, especially for the fact when they go to these big organizations outside of Pakistan and they say that we are in support of all these XYZ rights. When they go and sign up ratification letters and for different organizations, for example, I have this report from 2001.
Yeah.
On 2001, Pakistan ratified the Convention on Rights of Children. So I believe in rights of children when you say that we support these things. Why would you not have national campaigns or even minor things like running in your country to support these kinds of initiatives? What is wrong with it? So they need to be answerable to their people, because I am a tax-paying and a voter of Pakistan, and I do vote in every election. So why would you not be answerable to me when I have paid for your? I mean, I'm paying your salary to be in the office and do the work that you're supposed to be doing.
I really appreciate what you're saying, Ayesha, but the problem is that people who could, no offense meant, but the people who are here, they don't understand. They don't really understand what democracy is, and they don't really understand that they can ask questions, and they're taught not to ask questions.
I believe the conversation is going in a different direction.
Unfortunately, it is. But see, the problem here is that the way we have evolved, people do not ask questions, and the elected
system is never questioned.
That's how the system is. So let's not even go there. I appreciate what you're saying, but that's banging your head on a dead wall. It won't take you anywhere. The only thing I can we could probably help you with is maybe if you are willing to give names of people who have said they have no money to run such a campaign, could question them. Even that will not change anything. And as for making laws, we have enough laws already. We have no one willing to enforce the laws. And again, laws are not enforced.
Like, honestly, I was checking Pakistan Penal Code. There is nothing explicitly which talks about child sexual abuse.
Well, fine, we do not have laws that well defined, but we have laws that can get...
Second part, like, that was really frightening, that, like, the enforcement officers or, like, law enforcement officers that we are talking about, they don't even sometimes, most of the times I would say that they don't know about the laws at all. For example, they would not know about, like, any sort of, like, juvenile ordinance, or they would not know about that the recent child courts that have been established in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. So I'm not so sure, like, how does the system work when you don't enforce the laws, and then if your primary resource, or like a primary person whom you're supposed to be visiting, if they say that, you know, there is nothing like that and we cannot support you, how do you go about it?
Yeah, I think the whole question here is the government or the system that we have in today's time is really not working to educate the masses.
And it's not a mistake.
Yeah, it's not a mistake. It's something that should be created.
That is how they want it.
Yeah. And to be honest, I think the government should have at least some awareness campaigns, because the channels that they own are basically watched by the masses, because it goes to all the smallest towns that you could think of in Pakistan. And if they're refusing to carry this campaign on their channels, I don't know what they're thinking about, because this is about education and
But they're not interested. I mean, why are you confused?
Why are they not interested?
Because they're more interested in using the medium for their own propaganda. They don't really care about these things.
So what do we do then?
I would not know, honestly.
You need a large voice which creates pressure, and that you don't have.
Have you tried contacting any private channels for this ad campaign, or any other company who could sponsor you?
We haven't approached any of the private channels at the moment. So I would not know that, like, if they will be, like, willing to sponsor us, or how it will go, or if they will say that, like, oh, you will have to pay for the advertising rates, or how it will happen. But the few of the conversations that I have had so far, they said that, like, oh, if you make a PSA on your own, you will have to pay for the advertising rate, and then it will also depend on the content of the PSA as well.
Yeah.
Because, quote unquote, it is a very sensitive topic, and people might not want it to be on air on a national television. I was really surprised at, like, why would there be, like, so much retaliation? I don't know. Again, as it was put forward, that, like, it is a very religiously, people would, like, face, like, backlash. I was really surprised at that point. That, like, that the religious leaders would be, like, against educating their own people for saying that, like, oh, hey, you should be, like, careful, or these are the resources that you can have access to, or how you should be, like, reporting it.
So I guess you're facing the same issue that we're facing online. So when we try and create awareness over such topics, we also get a religious backlash.
No, we don't.
We do.
Not
I mean,
this.
we were
Not
always
this.
criticized.
We got criticized for the Turkey nation,
Yeah,
but not for
so
child
that-
abuse. It's a very complicated answer. We are a society which does not like to talk. It's a society which does not want to face its demons. We're a society who does not want to invest in these things. We're a system where the system doesn't really care, and it's all boils down to the fact that there is no pressure. And I've been fighting for this for 6 years, that we
Yeah.
need a large pressure group.
Yeah.
We do not have a pressure group.
And the system
They
needs to
don't
realize
care.
that they can be questioned, and they should be questioned for whether
But
they
you need
do
to have a
it.
large enough body
Yeah.
which
I agree.
functions as a large pressure group. We do not have a pressure group. In the absence of a pressure group, they don't really care.
And
Why
which is
should
why
they care?
you get such responses from them, that they really don't have the funds
come on, they have funds to run advertising on the laptop schemes and Benazir income programs.
Thank you. Yeah, and before
They've got all the
elections,
money
you
in
will
the
see
world.
all political parties and their campaigns being run on all public
Every
and
party,
private channels.
every party
Yeah.
has the money for it, but they don't really care about this because there's no demand for it.
Because again, it will be creating education, and that's their purpose, not to create.
They need
not to
demand,
create
and
awareness.
unfortunately, demand not a soft demand. They need a hard demand.
Aisha, another point that I would like to ask you: how many people are working on this campaign for now?
At this point, we have 4 people, including me. It's Aina, who is the petition organizer. It's me, who has been doing all the research around laws and everything, and approaching people. Then we have Shireen Ahmed. She works from Toronto. She works with family services in Toronto, and she has dealt with sexual violence and abuse, and has worked as a frontline worker in Toronto.
All
Then
right.
we have Raja, who has been helping us out approach schools and healthcare centers in Qureshi, who have been speaking to other folks on our behalf that if this is something that they will be interested in.
And what's the age group? Are you guys?
Can we take a quick short break?
Sure,
Just for
yeah.
a moment?
What's the
I should
group?
I should just hang on for a quick second, all right? We're gonna take a very quick short. What's wrong with you? We'll take a very quick short break.
Get tempted by mouth-watering, juicy pineapples. Chill out with refreshing tropical fruit cocktails. Del Monte. Say yes to the best.
Thank you for staying with us. We have Ayesha Asghar online with us. We're talking about child abuse and trying to find ways of how such an awareness campaign can be launched. And she says she's having trouble getting connected with
With the government
with the
officials.
government who would be interested. Ayesha, what age group is your team?
The age group of my team is I'm 24, so it's between 24 and 35.
All right. Now, lastly, how can we or anyone be of use to you? How can we help? Or you just want to use this to tell people about it? Or is there anything you want us to do?
I would like people to talk to their schools, talk to their healthcare centers, talk to their clergy, talk to the people in their own community that this is something that we need. If, for example, schools, especially in schools, kids from 6 years of age should be given this education that hey, if you are approached by a stranger, if you are touched by anyone in an inappropriate manner, you should be talking about this with your parents or with your teachers or with your healthcare workers. You should be approaching them, and it should be safe enough for you to tell them your story that this is something that is happening to you. In lots of cases, especially when we are talking about child sexual abuse, there are parents who are unfortunately involved in the same crime. Then there are, for example, in Pakistani society, when we are talking about religion, lots of kids go to Maulana or a religious clergy or imam for reading Quran or getting any sort of religious education. Lots of the survey that we have been done so far, lots of people who are survivors, they have said that they were abused by their religious imams at their mosque in their community. So the community needs to recognize that this is something which happens in their community. This is something which is not a foreign agenda, which is not something which is imported from a faraway land. This is something which is a part of our own society, and we need to solve it. We need to confront it and not to just shove it under the rug. We need to come forward and say that this is wrong, and we are going to put a stop to it. We are going to make our children more aware about it. We are going to put a system to it so that it can be stopped on all levels. And we are going to provide all sorts of support socially, legally, and psychologically to people who have gone through this whole crime.
Okay, super. I guess your message just did go out, and people have heard it. Well, Ayesha, thank you. Good luck. And if there's anything we can do other than this, let us know. And whenever you're ready to share the names of the people who say they don't have funds, do let us know because that's a point where we can take it further and question them why they do not have funds. Not that it'll change anything. I don't believe it'll change anything.
But at least we can question.
But at least we can question them and create an issue.
Yeah.
All right, Ayesha, thank you very
Definitely.
much. Thank you very much for having this conversation with us. Cheers. Take care.
I guess that is the problem in our society. A, that we have not managed or learned to question the system, because like she said in her phone call that she actually managed to question the system. And it is the system who's in shock at how come they were questioned about this.
Yeah. Well, we all question them, but they think it's a joke.
Yeah, but somebody needs to take it to a real serious point, because what we do is we question them and we let go of them.
Not someone. You need a large group.
Yeah. It
Some-
can't be just you and me.
It can't be you and me. It can't be just media. It can't be just TV anchors. It can't be just
Has
a
to
column
be
in the
you.
newspaper. It has to be a large number of people. It has to be people like yourself who have to get involved. It has to be people who do it in a larger group. And that's one of the reasons.
And
One of
again,
my problems with
yeah.
PTI, and I'm going to bring slight bit of politics in this, is that Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf has the street muscle.
Right.
It has the influence. It has the pressure power.
Yet they're still focusing on the political problems.
It's focusing on PMLN, which has become such a sad joke.
Yeah.
They should have used this power to, and I've had these conversations with them, that they should create a social movement already
And to work in areas which are not being dealt by other political parties for now.
and pressurize the government to do it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, and we'll talk to you next time. I'm going to take this phone call.